Okay, this is my tech talk of the week. Yesterday they just announced the new AirPods, the new Apple Watch, and finally the iPhone 17. Now, before I dive into my critiques and what I saw at the event, let's just go read what social media said because it seems like Samsung is definitely trolling after this whole announcement. Like, they don't play. And I think who is ever in charge of the Twitter account gotta be somebody that's either a Gen Z or a late millennial, because ain't no way they're just dropping out like jabs here and there like they're 50 Cent. First one is 48 megapixels times 3 still doesn't equal to 2000 MP. I'm just like, damn. Like, I think the newest Samsung has that level of megapixels, and I think they're gonna trademark this hashtag I can't, because that's just diabolical. Next up, we got a retweet from a tweet that they made in 2002. So it says, I can't believe this is still relevant. Let us know when it folds. And it's funny that they mentioned that because I think during the summer of 2025, especially late 2025, the Z Fold or like the folding Samsung devices were going crazy. A lot of people were trading in their iPhones and switching over to that device. You know, some people were thinking maybe I gotta switch back, but they actually loved it. And the way things became personal in the sense of customizing the screen with animations, that's what made people fall for it a lot more. And plus, the simplicity, the design, everything. So it's crazy that they mentioned the full thing, even though I'm not really a fan of that. I don't really care for it, but hey, it seems like it works, and it seems like that might be one of the future type of phones. But I don't know if Apple's really gonna launch something like that soon, but you gotta wait and see. Next up is the guy that is great at reviewing technology, MKBHD. He says, next up, all new iPhone lineup unlike anything else. Unlike anything we've ever created. They cannot resist hyping everything to the max, which is very true. And then Samsung says, actual innovation, overhype, hashtag I can't. And I think what they always do, like Apple themselves, they try to make it seem like it's bigger than what it already is. But that's how they keep getting sales. That's how they keep selling the dream, by creating that sense of need and urgency that is just like, yo, gotta have it. This is the biggest and best thing you ever experienced. It's like getting a golden ticket every year. I mean, like, that's the impression they want to give off during these presentations. And I think the last one is Apple just announced live translation at Z Notes. Diabolical. All we can say is welcome to the party. Now, I'm going to talk about the live translations in a bit, but yeah, Samsung is just wild with this whole thing. But let's get into the actual devices themselves that they announced yesterday. First up, we got the AirPods Pro 3. Now, there's two things that I noticed on here that just stuck out to me besides the battery life and the fact that they built earbuds that kind of matched almost every type of ear type. And it's one, the fact that you can now use the AirPods Pro 3 to like work out with, because it's going to track your heart rate in a sense. And two, the live translation part. Now, I've kind of noticed that when it comes to tracking your heart rate, people are trying to figure out unique and creative ways to improve that accuracy. So if you have like an Apple Watch or a smartwatch that can track that, and now these, I think you might get a more accurate reading of, you know, how much you're burning, how much your heart rate is, all that good stuff. So I think this is definitely dope, but it also reminded me of an article I just recently saw the other day. Let me see if I could share my screen and show you. But I guess for those listening in, you can't really see it, but it's, let me show you. Is it actually showing? Yes, it is. Okay. So here we have an article talking about creating or tracking your heart rate using Wi-Fi signals. I mean, this is crazy and revolutionary. I think this is where people are trying to go at, because usually when I run, I see a lot of people either with an Apple Watch or something strapped around their chest. And I think that's probably the most accurate way to get a good heart reading. Like the closer that device is to the heart, the better you're able to actually track what's going on with your body. But obviously, if you have something, then that counts. But I did make a video on how to calibrate your Apple Watch based off of certain settings. So if you want to learn more about that, it's on I Be Killing It Fitness, and just scroll down and it's right there. But in this article, they essentially talk about how they're trying to create something where you don't need any wearable devices. It's just probably going to use some sort of frequency, like I guess pulse Wi-Fi, to lock in on your actual heart rate. But let's see what it says. It says pulse Wi-Fi works by taking advantage of how Wi-Fi signals interact with the body. Each time a signal passes through, the heartbeat creates a subtle ripple that slightly alters the wave. The system can capture these tiny disturbances by setting up a transmitter to send the signal and receiver to collect what comes out the other side. Now, this is pretty interesting, right? Because when you think about it, Wi-Fi, cellular data, all these forms of signals, radio waves and stuff like that, it's all like a different sort of spectrum. And it kind of makes you think like, dang, if people really know how to understand and harness these invisible waves that is happening or that is existing in our lives, we could do some crazy stuff. So I could only imagine what the world will be like in the next 15 to 20 years based off of this type of concept. So imagine having pulse Wi-Fi plus the AirPods tracking it from your ears, from your watch. And maybe you're that runner that has it on your chest too. It's like you have different devices working together to improve the way you track your body, since that's the goal at the end of the day. But this was pretty dope. Now, I'm gonna say the live translation, I noticed that might cause a lot of issues when it comes to communicating, mainly because imagine trying to listen to two people at the same time, but it's like you're trying to understand what they're saying, but also reply at the same time. And I think that's what a lot of people who don't speak another language go through, or somebody that doesn't speak English is trying to learn it. Like that's what they're experiencing. And it got me thinking, like the root issue is that people don't know a second language, or the person they're talking to, they don't really know what it is that they're saying. So I think live translation is cool, but maybe, for example, the devices we have can prompt us or teach us how to do simple languages, simple conversations. So that way it's easier for us to engage and talk to them. So like, let's say, for example, I'm meeting somebody that's speaking Spanish in the next week or two. Maybe the AirPods can probably teach me a few things. So that way they're not translating everything, but just certain words I just don't understand. Because I think when people of another language see that you're attempting to learn their culture, even if you're not the best, it goes a long way, and it helps with the connection and communication between the two. Because when I was in Mexico and I was speaking a little bit of Spanish, it let them know that, hey, these guys are not just here for fun, but it's more of a acceptance. Like you guys respect the culture and you guys are willing to at least attempt it. Like you guys aren't feeling entitled of what's the right word I'm looking for, to expect us to know English. So I think that's where these live translation headphones, I feel like, lack, right? Like instead of just trying to make us rely so heavily on the translation, help us learn afterwards. Like if I'm wearing the AirPods and it's translating a conversation for me, after the conversation is over, help me learn Spanish so that way it's easier for me to like pick up on this stuff. Especially if we both have the AirPods translating, because now, let's say, for example, AirPods die or they fall out or they break, and it's like, why make it more difficult that way, But that's just what I was thinking about that whole live translation thing. Like there's no attempt to try and learn that other language. It's just another pacifier given to us. And we got to stop having crutches when it comes to cultural differences or just communication. Like these applications are supposed to help us get closer together, but also remind us to solve the root issue. We don't know each other's languages. So let's try to learn each other's languages and then go from there. Like we don't have to know everything, but like let's at least learn to have a quick 5-minute conversation, even with the live translation, because it just seems like it's solving a small issue. Right now we have the Apple Watch. Now the last model I have is the one from, I'm going to say 2020. So I don't know what series that is. I think it's maybe the series 6 and we're on series 11. Wow. Plus that new high tech one that's like for athletes and stuff. Now, what spoke out to me during this entire Watch series event is that one, the stories behind using the Apple Watch and everything, how people almost died, but then the Apple Watch saved their lives, and them tracking themselves to become the best version of themselves. And it kind of made me think, right? The best way to sell this product is by showing the most highest use case possible, because when you think about it, not many people are going to have heart attacks every day or be in a life or death situation. But when you show how that situation can be solved right away with that Apple Watch, it reassures the user like, okay, when I get to this situation any point in time, I know this device got my back. I think that was a great use case and user experience, and how to let people know that there's features out there for you, even if you don't have to experience it all the time. But overall, dope presentation. And I think if anybody is interested in learning about how to do presentations, how to work with people on teams, and like how to effectively showcase whatever work you're doing, watch these presentations Apple has, because they are great at telling a story and making the information bite-sized to where anybody can understand it, and it lets you know what they are trying to sell. Because it reminds me of this one dude who used to work at Apple, and he created some sort of AI pin that was supposed to replace all phones. But when he promoted it and talked about it, he came off as an engineer and not as a person who is telling a story for the need of the user. So that's why I think it flopped, and we don't really hear about that as much. But yeah, now I think the last product is the iPhone 17 Pro, it's iPhone 17 Air, and then the Pro Max and stuff like that. Now, I did notice somebody online made a video about how the camera itself is not as good as the 16, which is kind of weird. So I'm gonna just play the video so you can hear exactly what this guy's saying. Let me just get it up on my iPad. Hopefully it's not too loud.
Very bad news for us concert goers who like to film at their shows. Apple just made the telephoto lens worse for the iPhone 17 Pro series. At first glance, it looks great. They upgraded everything to 48 megapixels for all 3 cameras. But upon closer inspection, the telephoto camera is now a 4x camera, and it is only 100 millimeters in focal length. Compare that to the iPhone 16 Pro series, where the telephoto camera was a 5x lens with a 120 millimeter focal length. We're going from 5x optical zoom, not digital zoom, to a 4x optical zoom. Now, the marketing does say you have an 8x telephoto lens, but that is just a cropped version of this 4x optical lens. Now, because the telephoto lens was upgraded to a 48 megapixel sensor, that means your 4x pictures and video are going to look worse than an iPhone 16 Pro's 5x telephoto, because the sensor has larger pixels. It is a lower density sensor, meaning that the pixels can take in more light. This is actually...
So it's pretty interesting, right? It's so good to like have people that is experienced in those lanes to help break it down even more. Because now it's kind of like, dang, I got this phone specifically for the camera. And if I like to go out, go to raves and concerts, this might mess up the overall capturing of the experience. I mean, obviously I'm going to have a good time, but this is very important. But I guess for somebody like me, I don't really care. No, not say I don't care, but when I go to concerts and stuff, I usually have my phone in my pocket. I might do a record here and there, but it's not like I'm acting like I'm the videographer recording everything. But this is definitely important, like when you think about it. Now, I will say this, right? In the keynote, they mentioned that they had photographers take pictures with the iPhones. Now, I think what people should do is look up these photographers, see their profile pages, and use that to figure out how to take better pictures with the iPhone. Because now it's like we are learning from these photographers and like how they capture the images so well with the angles, the lighting, the positioning. So if we look at their pages, study them a little bit, we could have a lot more high quality pictures with just using our phone. So imagine going to the function, a party or an event, and somebody asks, hey, can you take a picture? Because you studied from that dude that took the pictures with the new iPhone, you now can make pictures look 1,000 times better. And sometimes you could probably even start a business doing this, because not many people know how to take pictures with their phone in general. Like they think they need a big camera or anything like that, like a fancy camera. But as we've seen in the keynote, the people that are experienced in taking photos like on the regular, they did a great job with just a phone. So it's like, unless you understand lighting, positioning, how to posture yourself, all that good stuff, then it doesn't matter what device you have. You need to understand the basics to get it right, and then edit it in Lightroom or something like that to enhance that photo even more. But I thought that was pretty dope too. Now, what else did I want to talk about with the iPhone? I think the iPhone Air, the fact that it's thin is pretty cool, but I could see a lot of issues with the battery life, it getting hot, and it just breaking pretty easily, because the thinner the device, the weaker it is. And the fact that they mentioned you can pair it with a MagSafe charger right away, it's kind of like, if it can last all day, why do I need a MagSafe? Like, it doesn't really make sense. But it's like the guy said in the tweet that they always want to make things bigger and better, but that's how they get the numbers, right? Make it seem like it's exclusive, it's dope, but I got to give kudos and points to Apple for doing something like this. Now, I definitely like the color, that orange color, and it seems like this is a decent phone. I mean, they got features to work on, things to line up with in the future, but overall, will the sales be more than the Samsung Fold or the latest phones out there? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We'll just have to wait and see, because I'm waiting for the video for that guy that does the reviews to test it out, break it, do whatever he can with it to see exactly if it's worth it. Because me, myself, I have the iPhone 7, and my actual phone right now is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. You can see that is cracked. That was like me working out and it just fell. But I think if I upgrade now, this would be like a huge, huge jump in performance, quality, software. Like, I'm gonna be good. Like, it's been 5 years since I've actually upgraded. So something like this would be worth it. But maybe I'm gonna just hold out on getting this phone itself, because I honestly don't need it right now. And for people that's probably wondering if you should buy this product, I think the best way to help answer that question is, does this product solve a problem that I have? So for example, if the company or product is having a hard time explaining what their problem is and how they're solving it, then you shouldn't buy it. So for example, we have something like Uber and Grubhub. They solve the problem of getting food to your door faster at almost any food location, instead of just it being specific to that vendor. So fast delivery, anytime, any location. Now, I got another example, right? This device I have, it's called what is it called? Insta360 Go Ultra. Now, the problem that they solve is that they create good POV shots, like stuff and angles that you can't even think of. So I think this definitely solves the problem. Solves my problem when it comes to recording and making videos. So that's why I got it. But overall, for somebody like me, this wouldn't be a bad investment, but I think I'll probably wait until either the next iPhone or maybe the second anniversary iPhone, since I think every, 10 years, they like to make it fancy, the best one out there, or just something like a legacy phone. Even though, ironically, the iPhone 10 was definitely a bust. The iPhone X, definitely a bust. But yeah, this is my tech talk of the week. I'll probably have some more thoughts on Apple and what they have innovated so far and like what's coming up, but stay tuned for more. Peace.